Opening eyes to wonder, Jackson Reed's consciousness drifted back like a tide returning to shore. His body felt weightless, suspended in something warm and nurturing. The last memory he could grasp was signing papers in a sterile laboratory on Earth, agreeing to test the new deep sleep technology that promised to revolutionize space travel. The scientists had said it would feel like closing his eyes for a moment, but something told him much more time had passed. As his eyelids fluttered open, he expected to see the familiar white ceiling of the research facility. Instead, his vision filled with impossible beauty. Above him stretched a dome of living crystal that pulsed with soft rainbow light. The walls curved organically, embedded with what looked like stars caught in amber. The air itself seemed to shimmer with golden particles that danced lazily around him. The vision of Grace, then, he saw her, and his breath caught in his throat. Kneeling beside what appeared to be his resting place was the most beautiful being he had ever encountered. Her skin held a soft luminescence, like moonlight on water. With delicate patterns of silver that traced along her arms and neck like living tattoos, her hair cascaded in waves of pure silver, so fine it seemed to move with its own ethereal breeze. But it was her eyes that captivated him completely. They were large and expressive, colored like deep ocean waters with flecks of starlight. She looked at him. He felt as though she could see directly into his soul. She wore a gown that seemed woven from liquid light, clinging to her graceful form in ways that made his heart race. "Welcome back to consciousness, Jackson Reed," she said, her voice like a gentle melody. "I am Seraphina. I have been waiting for you to awaken. Shins in paradise." Jackson tried to sit up, his muscles responding sluggishly. Seraphina reached out with hands that felt impossibly soft, helping him rise. Her touch sent warmth through his entire body, and he noticed how her fingers seemed to glow faintly where they made contact with his skin. "Where am I?" he asked, his voice hoarse from disuse. "How long have I been asleep?" Seraphine's expression grew gentle but serious. "You are aboard the Celestial Haven, a vessel of my people. You have been in stasis for 73 of your Earth years. Your world has changed much since you last walked upon it." The words hit him like a physical blow. 73 years. Everyone he had known, everyone he had loved, was either very old or gone. He felt tears threatening to fall, but Seraphine's presence somehow kept the despair at bay. "No, this is overwhelming," she continued, settling gracefully beside him. "But you must understand, you were saved. Earth faced a crisis that threatened all human life. My people, the Lumenians, intervened to preserve the best of your species." The new reality, as Jackson's strength returned, Seraphina helped him stand. His legs felt unsteady, but her support was constant and reassuring. She led him to what appeared to be a window, though it seemed more like a transparent wall of liquid starlight. Beyond the window stretched a vista that defied imagination. They were in space, but not the cold, empty void he remembered. This space was alive with color and movement. Nebulae swirled in patterns of pink and gold, while massive structures that looked like crystal cities drifted serenely through the cosmic dance. Twin suns blazed in the distance, their light creating auroras that painted the darkness in brilliant hues. "Your people call this the Harmony Sector," Seraphina explained, standing close enough that he could feel the warmth radiating from her luminous skin. "It is a place where different species come together in peace and understanding." Jackson turned to look at her, studying the way the cosmic light played across her features. "And humans? Are we part of this harmony?" Something flickered in her eyes, an emotion he couldn't quite read. "That remains to be seen. You're part of a selection process. Jackson, you and others like you represent humanity's potential future among the stars." The tender care over the following days, Seraphina became his guide to this new existence. She showed him how to use the ship's amazing technology, from clothes that adjusted to his body temperature to food that materialized from pure energy. More than that, she became his anchor in this strange new world. She would sit with him during his meals, explaining the customs of her people with a patience that seemed infinite. Her laughter was like crystal chimes when he made awkward attempts to understand their technology. At night, she would sing to him in her native language, songs that seemed to resonate in his very bones and chase away the loneliness that threatened to overwhelm him. Jackson found himself drawn to her in ways that went beyond her obvious beauty. She possessed a gentle wisdom that spoke of centuries of experience, yet maintained an innocence that made every moment feel fresh and new. When she looked at him, he felt valued and understood in a way he had never experienced before. Growing attraction as days turned into weeks, the attraction between them grew stronger. Jackson would catch himself staring at the way her silver hair caught the light or how her eyes seemed to hold depths of knowledge and compassion. Serafina, for her part, began to linger in their conversations, her touches becoming more frequent and lasting longer. One evening, as they sat together watching the cosmic ballet outside their window, she placed her hand over his. The simple contact sent electricity through his entire being. "Jackson," she said softly, "I must tell you something that troubles my heart. My people assigned me to you as a caretaker, but what I feel for you goes beyond duty. This is forbidden. Among my kind." He turned to face her fully, bringing his other hand up to cover hers. "What do you feel?" Her luminous skin seemed to pulse brighter as she spoke. "I feel drawn to you in ways I cannot explain. Your courage in facing this new reality, your kindness toward me despite your own confusion and loss, make me want to be more than what I was created to be." The deepening bond, Jackson felt his heart racing as he realized the depth of his own feelings. "Serafina, I don't understand much about this new world, but I understand what I feel for you. You're not just beautiful, though you are the most stunning being I've ever seen. You're compassionate, intelligent, and brave. Whatever rules your people have, whatever this selection process is about, I know that my feelings for you are real." She moved closer to him, her luminous skin now glowing with an inner light that seemed to respond to her emotions. "The connection between us grows stronger each day. I can feel it in the way the light patterns on my skin react to your presence. Among my people, this is called the bonding glow, and it is said to happen only once in a lifetime." Their faces drew closer together, and Jackson could feel the warmth radiating from her skin. Her lips were soft and seemed a taste of starlight and honey. When they kissed, the entire room seemed to pulse with gentle light, as if the universe itself was celebrating their connection. The promise of tomorrow as they held each other in the cosmic light, Serafina whispered against his ear, "Whatever challenges come, whatever my people or yours might say, I want you to know that you have awakened something in me that I never knew existed. You have shown me what it means to choose love over duty." Jackson stroked her silver hair, marveling at how it seemed to respond to his touch with tiny sparkles of light. "Then we'll face whatever comes together. I've lost my old world, but I've found something more precious than anything I left behind." Outside their window, the twin suns began to set behind a crystal moon, painting the cosmos in shades of gold and rose. In each other's arms they had found not just love, but a new beginning that would soon be tested by forces beyond their imagination. The gentle awakening was complete. Now their real journey would begin. Secrets revealed. The morning light from the twin suns streamed through the crystal walls as Jackson awakened to find Serafina, already dressed in flowing robes of deep blue that seemed to contain captured starlight. Her expression was troubled, and the gentle glow of her skin had dimmed considerably. "What's wrong?" he asked, sitting up and reaching for her hand. She pulled away slightly, her silver hair catching the light. As she shook her head, "Commander Vex has summoned us both. The integration process is about to begin, and I fear you are not prepared for what they will ask of you." Jackson rose and moved to the window, looking out at the vast space station that had become visible during the night. It was a floating city of impossible proportions, with spiraling towers that twisted through space like frozen hurricanes. Ships of various designs moved between the structures like schools of luminous fish. "Tell me what I need to know," he said firmly. "No more gentle introductions. I need the truth." Seraphine's luminous skin pulsed with anxiety as she began to speak. "My people, the Luminians, are part of a greater collective of species known as the Harmony Coalition. We rescued humans not just out of kindness, but because we need you. Our races have been declining in emotional range and creativity for millennia. Human passion, human love, human ingenuity. These are things we have lost. The integration chamber commander Vex stood nearly 8 feet tall, his crystalline exoskeleton reflecting the chamber's blue light and sharp angles. Unlike Seraphin's soft luminescence, his presence radiated authority and cold logic. His eyes were like chips of ice as he studied Jackson with clinical interest. Human Jackson Reed, Vex spoke, in a voice that resonated with harmonic undertones. You have been selected for Phase 2 of the integration protocol. Your genetic markers and psychological profile indicate exceptional compatibility with our species. The chamber they stood in was circular, with walls that displayed swirling galaxies and star systems. In the center sat a device that looked like a throne made of living light, connected to countless fiber optic threads that pulsed with energy. What exactly does that mean? Jackson asked, though he suspected he already knew. Vex gestured toward the device. You will bond permanently with one of our citizens, sharing not just emotional connection, but biological enhancement. Your human creativity will merge with our advanced capabilities. The offspring of such unions have shown remarkable potential. Jackson felt his stomach drop. And if I refuse? Refusal is not an option, Vex replied coldly. You exist now only because we permit it. However, you may choose your partner from among our available citizens. The choice of the Hearts-Seraphinas stepped forward, her skin now glowing with determination despite the fear in her eyes. Commander, I request to be considered for the bonding. Vex's crystalline features shifted in what might have been surprise. Seraphina of the Silver Light, you are a caretaker class, not a bonding candidate. Such a pairing is unprecedented. Perhaps, she replied, moving to stand beside Jackson, but our connection has already begun naturally. My skin responds to his presence in ways that indicate deep compatibility. Would the coalition ignore such clear biological indicators? Jackson watched in amazement as Seraphin's entire form began to glow brighter, the silver patterns on her skin shifting and dancing in response to his proximity. The effect was breathtaking. Like watching the aurora borealis given human form, Commander Vex studied the phenomenon with growing interest. Remarkable. The spontaneous luminescence bonding is extremely rare. Very well, but the pairing must be tested under controlled conditions. The testing grounds, they were transported to a vast chamber that recreated various environments through advanced holographic technology. Mountains, oceans, alien landscapes, and hostile environments materialized. Around them, as Vex explained the trials, you must demonstrate that your bond can withstand stress, danger, and separation, he announced. Only pairs that show true synchronization will be approved for permanent integration. The first test placed them in a recreation of a hostile alien world with toxic storms and predatory creatures that felt terrifyingly real. Jackson and Seraphina had to work together to find shelter and resources. Their success depended on how well they could read each other's thoughts and intentions. As they huddled together in a cave, while luminous predators prowled outside, Seraphin's skin provided the only light. Jackson marveled at how naturally they moved together, how her touch could calm his fear, while his presence seemed to strengthen her resolve. I can feel your thoughts, she whispered against his ear. Not words, but emotions, intentions. Is this normal for humans? No, he replied, stroking her silver hair as it responded to his touch with gentle pulses of light. This is something new, something that belongs just to us. Trials of separation, the second test was crueler, forcing them to work toward the same goal while kept in separate chambers. They could see each other through transparent barriers, but could not touch or speak directly. Instead, they had to solve a complex puzzle that required perfect coordination. Jackson watched in fascination as Seraphin's skin patterns changed, creating intricate designs that he somehow understood were messages. In response, he found himself moving in ways that felt guided by instinct, his actions synchronizing with hers despite the physical separation. Commander Vex observed from his control booth, his crystalline form reflecting rainbow patterns as various instruments measured their biometric responses. Unprecedented, he murmured to his assistants. Their neural synchronization levels exceed all previous recordings. When the barrier finally dissolved and they could touch again, both Jackson and Serafina glowed with shared relief and joy. Their embrace sent waves of soft light through the chamber, and even Vex seemed momentarily moved by the display. The emotional storm, the final test, was the most challenging. Designed to push their emotional connection to its breaking point, they were shown visions of alternate futures, some where they lived happily together, others where they were separated forever, and still others where their love brought destruction to both their peoples. As the visions played around them, Jackson felt doubt creeping into his heart. Was he being selfish in pursuing this relationship? Was his love for Serafina putting her in danger? Serafina sensed his turmoil immediately, her skin dimming as she absorbed his emotional pain. "Jackson, look at me," she said urgently, taking his face in her glowing hands. "Whatever they show us, whatever fears they try to plant, remember this moment. Remember how you feel right now." He gazed into her ocean-deep eyes and felt his doubts dissolve. "I feel complete," he said honestly. "For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." Her luminescence flared bright, enough to banish the dark visions surrounding them. "Then trust in that. Trust in us." The unexpected revelation as the testing concluded, Commander Vex approached them with an expression that seemed almost puzzled. "Your performance has been extraordinary. But there is something you must understand, Serafina. Show him your true form." Jackson looked at her in confusion, but her expression had grown serious. Slowly, she closed her eyes and concentrated. The air around her began to shimmer, and her already luminous skin began to glow even brighter. Before his amazed eyes, delicate wings of pure light unfurled from her back, and her silver hair lifted as if she were floating in water. Her form became more ethereal, more radiant, until she looked like a being made of captured starlight. "I am not just Lemenian," she said softly, her voice now carrying harmonic overtones. "I am part of the celestial caste, beings of pure energy, who rarely interact with physical forms. My attraction to you has changed my very nature, made me more solid, more real." Jackson reached out and touched her wings of light, gasping as he felt actual texture, warmth, and the subtle vibration of energy. "You're even more beautiful than I imagined possible." The verdict. Commander Vex studied them both with what might have been admiration. This bonding transcends our expectations. A human and a celestial, the implications are staggering. However, such a union requires approval from the highest levels of the coalition. "How long?" Serafina asked, her wings folding back as she returned to her more solid form. "The Council of Ancients must convene. It's perhaps a lunar cycle. Until then, you will remain together, but under observation." Vex paused, his crystalline form shifting colors. "I will admit, what I have witnessed today challenges many of our assumptions about both species." As they were escorted back to their quarters, Jackson held Seraphine's hand, feeling the gentle pulse of energy that passed between them. Whatever came next, they had proven their connection was real and profound. "Are you afraid?" he asked, as they walked through corridors lined with windows showing the infinite cosmos beyond. Terrified, she admitted with a soft laugh that chimed like bells. "But also more alive than I have ever been. You have awakened something in me that I never knew existed." That night they held each other under the light of alien constellations, their love growing stronger, even as uncertainty loomed ahead. The bond between worlds had been forged. But the greatest test was yet to come. The Council of Ancients' 3 weeks had passed since their trials, and the waiting had become almost unbearable. Jackson and Serafina spent their days exploring the vast space station, but always under the watchful eyes of Luminian guards. Their love had deepened during this time, their connection growing so strong that they often shared thoughts and emotions without speaking. The summons came at dawn, delivered by a being of pure crystal who spoke in harmonics that made the air itself vibrate. They were to appear before the Council of Ancients immediately. The council chamber was unlike anything Jackson had ever imagined. It existed in a space between dimensions, where the laws of physics bent to accommodate beings of pure thought and energy. Ancient entities floated in spheres of contained starlight, their forms so alien that looking directly at them made his eyes water. The human Jackson Reed and the celestial Seraphina spoke a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. At once, you have created an unprecedented situation. Seraphine's wings manifested automatically in response to the presence of the ancients. True celestial nature recognizing their power. She glowed like a small star beside him, and Jackson felt strength flow from her into him. The ancient decree, the largest of the ancient beings, pulsed with colors that had no names. Your bonding has been observed and measured. The energy patterns you generate together are unlike anything in our records. However, this presents both opportunity and danger. Another voice joined the first, creating harmonies that resonated in Jackson's bones. Celestials have not bonded with physical beings for 10,000 years. The last such union created energies that tore holes in the fabric of space itself. Jackson felt ice forming in his stomach, but Seraphina stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. Honored ancients with respect, that union was forced and unwilling. What Jackson and I share is based on choice, on genuine emotion and compatibility. Surely this makes a difference. The chamber filled with what might have been cosmic laughter. The young celestial speaks of love as if it were a new discovery. We who have existed since the birth of galaxies know well the power of such emotions. The ultimate test, a new presence entered the chamber, so vast and ancient that even the other council members seemed to defer to it. When it spoke, Jackson felt as though the universe itself was addressing him. Human, you claim to love this being, but love among your species is often possessive, jealous, destructive, when you prove that your love transcends these limitations. The chamber transformed around them, becoming a recreation of Earth as it had been in Jackson's time. He could see his old apartment, his workplace, the people he had known. Everything was exactly as he remembered, perfect in every detail. Choose, the ancient continued. Return to your own time, your own world, your own species. Live the life you are meant to live. Or remain here, knowing that your choice may endanger countless worlds if your bonding proves unstable. Jackson felt the pull of his old life like a physical force. The familiar sights and sounds called to him, promising comfort and certainty. But when he looked at Seraphina, glowing like captured starlight beside him, he knew there was no real choice to make. I choose her, he said simply. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Because a life without her wouldn't be living at all. Seraphine's trial, the chamber shifted again, this time showing Seraphina surrounded by other celestial beings. In their pure energy forms, they called to her in harmonics that spoke of freedom from physical constraints, of returning to the pure existence she had known before meeting Jackson. You could transcend your current form, they sang to her. Come one with the cosmic forces themselves. Why cling to this limiting physical bond? Seraphine's wings spread wide, their light growing brighter as she responded. Because he has shown me something more beautiful than pure energy. He has shown me what it means to choose, to grow, to become more than what you were created to be. I choose to be real, to be solid, to be his. Her declaration sent ripples of light through the chamber, and even the ancients seemed moved by the sincerity of her words. The sacred bond the ancient beings conferred in frequencies beyond hearing. Their energies creating aurora-like displays throughout the chamber. Finally, they spoke as one. Your love has been tested and found genuine. But bonding a celestial with a human requires more than emotion. It requires a fundamental merging of essences that cannot be undone. The chamber transformed once more, becoming a temple of living crystal on a moon orbiting a young star. Streams of pure energy flowed through crystalline channels in the walls, and at the center stood an altar that seemed to be made of condensed starlight. If you truly wish to be bonded, the ancients continued, you must undergo the ritual of eternal unity. Success will make you more than either of your species alone. Failure will mean the end of your individual existences. Jackson and Seraphina looked at each other, and he could see his own determination reflected in her luminous eyes. Without hesitation, they walked hand in hand to the altar. The ritual of unity, the process began with Seraphina removing her physical garments. revealing that her entire body was covered in intricate patterns of silver light that pulsed with her heartbeat. Jackson felt no shyness or hesitation as he joined their bodies beginning to glow in response to each other's presence. Ancient energies swirled around them as they embraced on the altar of starlight. Jackson felt his consciousness expanding, touching the edges of cosmic forces he had never imagined. Through their connection, Seraphina shared her memories of floating between stars, of existing as pure thought and energy. The merging began slowly, their separate energies intertwining like cosmic dancers. Jackson felt himself becoming more than human, his perception expanding to encompass multiple dimensions. Seraphina became more solid, more real, while retaining her celestial abilities. Pain and pleasure merged into something beyond both as their essences combined. For terrifying moments, Jackson feared they would lose themselves completely, become something neither human nor celestial. But their love anchored them, keeping their core selves intact even as they transformed. The new beginning, when the ritual was complete, they lay together on the crystal altar, forever changed. Jackson's skin now held a subtle luminescence, and he could feel energies flowing through him that connected him to the cosmos itself. Seraphina had become more solid, more human, while retaining her wings of light and her celestial wisdom. "You are bonded," the ancients declared, their voices now carrying notes of approval. "The first human-celestial pair in 10 millennia. Your children will bridge to worlds, your love will inspire new forms of art and science, and your unity will serve as an example to countless species." As they rose from the altar, Jackson marveled at how natural his new abilities felt. He could see energy patterns in everything around them, could feel the life force of distant stars. But most amazingly, he could sense Seraphine's presence, not just beside him, but as part of his very soul. "How do you feel?" she asked, her voice now carrying harmonic undertones that resonated with his enhanced hearing. "Complete," he replied, pulling her close. "Like I've finally become who I was always meant to be." Across the stars, the council provided them with their own ship, a vessel that responded to their combined energies and could travel between dimensions. Their mission was to explore the galaxy, to find others who might benefit from the kind of unity they had achieved. As they sailed through space, Jackson learned to pilot using thought alone, while Seraphina navigated by reading the energy patterns of distant stars. Their lovemaking had become something transcendent, generating fields of energy that could heal planets and inspire new forms of life. On a world of crystal forests, they helped two warring species find peace. In the depths of a gas giant, they discovered a civilization of energy beings who had forgotten how to feel joy. Everywhere they went, their love became a beacon of hope and possibility. Years passed, though time meant little to them now. Seraphine's belly began to glow with new life, their child developing in an environment of pure love and cosmic energy. When their daughter was born, she was perfect in ways that transcended any single species, her eyes holding the wisdom of the ancients and the curiosity of humanity. Forever among the stars, standing on the observation deck of their ship, watching nebulae swirl in slow dances of creation, Jackson held his family close. Their daughter played with threads of starlight while Seraphine's wings wrapped around them all in protective warmth. "Do you ever regret it?" Seraphine asked, "leaving your old life behind?" Jackson looked at his wife, whose beauty had only grown, more radiant with time, and at their daughter, who represented the future of multiple species. "How can I regret finding my home among the stars? How can I regret love that spans the cosmos?" As their ship sailed deeper into unexplored space, following energy signatures that promised new adventures and new species to help, Jackson knew that their story was far from over. They'd become legends whispered in a dozen languages across 100 worlds, the human who gave up everything for love, and the celestial who chose reality over transcendence. Their love had literally changed the universe, creating new possibilities for connection and unity that would ripple across the galaxy for generations to come. In choosing each other, they had chosen to become something greater than either could have been alone. The stars sang their names, and the cosmos itself seemed to celebrate their eternal bond as they sailed on. Together, forever among the infinite wonders of space.